Alright, for this one, what I want you guys to do is pause the video and try these problems, and then after you've done them, um, watch the video to see that you've done it right. This way you can kind of check yourself to see how well you're understanding these things, because tomorrow you'll have a quiz on this stuff. So let's get started. Number one, consider the given sequence, provide the prompted information. So we have 2, 5, 8, 11, 4. So we're adding 3 each time. So the next term, okay, if we add 3, is going to be 17. Since we're adding 3 each time, this is arithmetic. And our formula, an equals, well, it's going to be 3n. But now we have to find that y-intercept, or that starting value, so we got to go back 1. And that'll be negative 1. Because negative 1 plus 3 is 2. Now to find a10, you can do two things. You could keep going, 17, and then plus 3, 20. You could keep adding 3, or you could plug in 10 into this formula here. I think that would be easier. 10 times 3 is 30, minus 1 gives us 29. And that's it. Letter B, all right, we have 2 over 3, 4 over 3, 8 over 3, 16 over 3. So what's happening, I've noticed on the top, is that we're multiplying by 2 each time. 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. So that automatically makes this geometric. Now you may be thinking, well, what about that divided by 3? What's that doing there? Well, if we go back 1, okay, to find out the starting value, or that y-intercept, and divide by 2, we get 1/3. So this is our starting value, 1/3. So our function would be 1/3, and we are multiplying by 2 each time. We have 2 to the nth power. So then we can answer the next question. So the next term, 16 times 2 is 32 over 3, because these all have divided by 3. So 32 over 3. And then a10, we're going to take the 10 and plug it in for n. And when you do that, you will get 1,240 on top, and then divided by 3, again, because we have this, because we have this 1/3 in the front. That's why everything is divided by 3. All right, number 2, we have dots here. So what I like to do with the dots is make a table at this point. We have n, and we have an. And we need our starting value. So 0, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So then we look for the y values. For 4, we have 10. For 3, we have 7. For 2, it's 4. And for 1, we have 1. So we're subtracting 3 each time if we're going backwards, because we have to fill in this value here. So this will be negative 2, because negative 2 plus 3 is 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. So we are still adding 3 each time. So our formula, or our rule, will be 3n minus 2. And then when we plug in 8 for that, because we're asked to find a8, 3 times 8 minus 2 gives us 22. And since we are adding 3 each time. This is an arithmetic sequence. Now for letter B, we'll do the same thing. We'll start with a table. We have n, an, so we need 0. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So when it's 1, we have 2. For 2, it's 4. For 3, 8. And for 4, 16. So we are multiplying by 2 each time. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. So this must be a 1, because 1 times 2 is 2. So this is geometric, because we're multiplying by 2 each time. And then an is going to be 1 times 2 to the nth power. We don't need the 1 in front. I just put that there because it's our y-intercept, or starting value. But if you left it like this, you're still okay. So then we would need to calculate 2 to the 8th power. Alright, so we get out our calculator and do 2 to the 8th power. Just trying to find that on my calculator. We get 256. Now letter C, we're going up and down. Like we have negative values and positive y values, then negative y values and positive y values. So let's make our table. N, an, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the y values, we have negative 2, positive 4, negative 8, and positive 16. So we are multiplying by negative 2 each time. So that means this has to be positive 1, because positive 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16. So this is going to be geometric, because we're multiplying by negative 2 each time. Then our formula is going to be 1 times negative 2 to the nth power. And again, you don't need that 1 in front. So now n to the 8th, type that in the calculator and you get positive 256. So same answer as part B, but the next one, A9, would be negative. So you can see we would alternate between negative and positive values because of this negative 2 to the nth power. Alright, number 3, let's look at that. Write a rule for the sequence. A sequence where A4 is 8 and a common difference of 3.5. So that means this is like your slope, a 3.5. So if we made a table, we eventually need to get to 0 in the x value. We know the 4th term is 8. And my common difference is 3.5. That means when I'm going forward, I'll be adding 3.5 each time. So to go and fill in the other x values, I need to do 8 minus 3.5, and then keep subtracting 3.5 until I get my y-intercept. So 8 minus 3.5 is 4.5. Then subtract 3.5 again. We get 1. Subtract 3.5 again, we get negative 2.5. And subtract 3.5 again, we get negative 6. So then we will write an equals negative 6 plus 3.5n. Now you could write it in the different order, switch them. You could say an equals 3.5n minus 6. It means the same thing. I don't really mind which way you do it. Right, now, letter B. Okay, so same idea. Let's make a table. We have an, so 0, 1, 2, 3. Oh, we don't need to go up to 3 because it says the third term is 16. Now it says a common ratio of 1/2, meaning I would multiply by 1/2 each time. Okay, so I'd multiply by 1/2 each time, so going backwards I would divide by 1/2. So 16 divided by 1/2 is 32. 32 divided by 1/2 is 64. And 64 divided by 1/2 is 128. And again, you can double check by going and taking 128 multiplied by 1/2 is 64 and keep going. So then my formula, an equals 128 times 1/2 to the nth power. Alright, now letter C. For letter C, we have something a little bit different. We have A2 and we have A3. Okay. We got negative 63 and negative 189. So what we need to do is we need to find what are we multiplying by each time. And I say multiplying because it says in the direction that this is a geometric sequence. So if I do negative 189 divided by negative 63, two consecutive a values of the sequence, an values here, we get positive 3. So that is our growth rate. So now to go backwards, we're going to do negative 63 divided by 3 and get negative 21. And then do negative 21 divided by 3 and get negative 7. So then the formula will be an equals negative 7 times 3 to the nth power. So yeah, that one was a little bit different because we were given two values and we're told it's a geometric sequence. If they told us it was an arithmetic sequence, then we wouldn't have divided. We would not have divided right here. We would have subtracted instead to get our common difference. Alright, let's go to the next page, please. Find the sum, then determine whether the series is arithmetic, geometric, or neither. Well, I can tell that this one is geometric, or sorry, not geometric, arithmetic, because this is a linear function right here, 8 minus k. So I know that this is arithmetic automatically. So you guys know how to do this. We're going to do 8 minus 2 gives us 6. 8 minus 3, because we're starting at 2, and we're going up to 5. That's 5. 8 minus 4 is 4. 8 minus 5 is 3. So then we will add those up. 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3, and that will give us 18. That is our sum. All right, now let's look at letter B. Letter B, we're starting at 1, and we're going up to 4. So 1/2 times 4 to the first power. Well, 4 to the first power is 4 times 1/2 is 2. 1/2 times 4 to the second power. Okay, type that in the calculator, you will get 8. 1/2 times 4 to the third power, you type that in the calculator, you'll get 32. 1/2 times 4 to the fourth power, you type that in the calculator, and you should get 128. So then, what you'll need to do is add those up. So 2 plus 8 plus 32 plus 128, and that will give us 170. Now, since our y values here are our results for being multiplied by 4 each time, that means this is a geometric sequence here, or geometric series. Alright, last but not least, number 5. Write the following series in sigma notation. So that's this, remember this big fancy thing, and we always start with n equals 1, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. Now, to figure out our equation right here, we need to go back 1 and figure out what came before all this. Well, if you're looking at these numbers, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, and 23, we are adding 3 each time. So that means what must have come before this 8 needs to be 5, because 5 plus 3 is 8, 8 plus 3 is 11. So we have 3n plus 5 as our sigma notation. And again, you can always check to see if you've gotten this correct. The problem does not say to find the sum, so we can move on. Alright, so this one, I'm looking to see, okay, we have times 2, but when I look next, I see, oh, times negative 2. So yeah, our rate here is negative 2. Okay. So n equals 1, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. And again, we have to find out what came before this. So we would just have to divide it by negative 2. Well, negative 3 divided by negative 2 will be positive 3 over 2. And our growth rate was negative 2. And again, you can always check, and I can't stress this enough, if you have extra time, and I'm sure that you will, 3 over 2 times negative 2 is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 2 is positive 6. You can also plug in any value for n. If you plug in 3 for n, you should get negative 12 because that's our third term. So in the calculator, plug in 3 for n and see that you get negative 12 to make sure that you are correct. Okay, the last one I want to do is letter C. We're not going to do D at all. The 3 dots at the end means that in our sigma notation, it's going to go to infinity. Now I'm looking at my values here, and I see 1, 4, 9, 16. those numbers jump out to me as perfect squares. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, and so on. So the function would just be n squared. And that would be it. So I hope that you guys followed along and paid attention and paused the video, tried the problem, and then watched it, because this should have been more of a review at this point. And I hope that this cleared up some things and that now you can do your assignment and not have any issues so you can be ready for your quiz. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.